What's up guys, it's Dennis here. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to become fearless in sales. Now I've got 5 tips that I'm going to give you. I'm going to keep it very simple, short, and give you actionable advice that you can implement right away today to start leveling up on your sales journey. So the first thing that I want to talk about is reps, okay? Imagine you're a soldier or you're a warrior back in 1800s. Okay, you're not going to war without doing any training, right? There's a lot of years, months, blood, sweat, and tears that go into building a warrior, building a soldier before he goes to fight on the battlefield. So it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in a sales call. There's a lot of trials and tribulations that you're going to have to go through before you can go and actually competently deal with sales calls and have a really high close rate percentage and be able to really navigate your way through a sales situation. So what kind of training can you do in sales? Obviously you can read books, you can get mentors and all of these different types of things, but the most important thing is reps. Okay guys, if you have more experience, if you have more time sparring, fighting, doing whatever it is, in particular in our case it's doing sales calls or dealing with sales situations, you are going to be more well-versed, you're going to have more knowledge, you're going to have made more mistakes, you have more information that you can refer to. It's going to help you in your next sales calls and next sales scenarios. So the best way to do more reps is look at what the main input you're doing is, like how many cold calls you making, how many emails you making, how many sales calls you're actually sitting down on, how many conversations you're having on a day-to-day basis, and just 10x it. Just increase the input that you're doing so much more. And you will find that the turnaround time for you to learn something and actually implement it is going to come right the way down, and it's going to help you become more fearless in sales. The second thing I want to talk about is reframing, okay guys? And what this really means is just changing your perspective. Yes, of course, you might feel uncomfortable. It might be a bit uncertain in the middle of a sales situation or a sales call, but all you have to do is think about that situation as like, okay, this is my training. Going back to my first point, this is my reps. You know, I'm putting the reps in. No worries, it's okay. I don't mind if they say no. I don't mind if they fob me off or they reject me. It doesn't matter because I'll just move on to the next one. And there's millions, hundreds of millions, even billions of potential clients that you can get on this planet, okay, for your product or service. And this leads into my third point, which I want to talk about, which is what is the worst case scenario? You know, ask yourself right now, contemplate. I'll give you 3 seconds. What is the worst case scenario that can happen in a sales call or sales situation? Someone says no. Is that really the worst thing that could happen? Yes, it is, guys. So just don't get bogged down. The worst thing that can happen is you're on a phone call with another human, you're asking them to buy your product or service, and they just say no. And once you have the experience, you can get around that no and turn it into a yes anyway. So just focus on moving forward. Forget about the idea of, oh, what if they say no? What if they reject me? Again, going back to what I said earlier, there's billions of people in the world. There's so many potential clients that you can get, guys. Don't give up. Just move on to the next, next. Now, next thing I want to talk about is grit. Okay, and what this means kind of ties into the rest of the points that I've had. As a salesperson myself, or someone that's been in sales for over 6 years now and business, I really resonate with this because, you know, a lot of the time it gets very, very hard, guys. You have to do more cold calls, you've got to do more meetings, you're talking to people. Sometimes you're working 12, 13, 14 hours, you're working into the late night, you're waking up early. You know, it can get really uncomfortable, of course. And especially when you're tired already, you kind of don't want to continue, but you need to have grit. You need to have the mentality that you're an SAS soldier and you're running through a jungle away from tigers and you're running at your enemy. Have like a warrior mentality. Be thick-skinned. You know, number one thing in sales, if you want to move forward, if you have thick skin and you can just keep trudging through the trenches, just keep grafting it out, eventually you're going to get to a point where you're kind of numb to the rejection, you're numb to the no's, you're numb to the, because you just dealt with all these situations over and over and over, and it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter to you, you know what to do. You're like, oh, this person said this, boom, you know, you throw it right back at them. Now, the final point that I want to make is vision. You need to have a vision. You need to have an idea in your mind of what your end goal is. And I'm not just talking about, oh, I want to close this one deal. I mean, it might be that for you. Let's say you're dealing with like Elon Musk. This guy's gonna give you $1 trillion for a deal. Okay, cool. That's a good goal to have. But for most of us, it's like a certain income goal or it's a certain setup for your business. Whatever that is, have that vision in your mind every day. Whenever you're doing something that is on your business or you're closing a deal, whatever it is, hold in your mind that ideal vision of where you're going Because what it's going to do, guys, it's going to allow you to keep on track. Imagine you're on a train, and every time you change the thoughts that you have in your mind and the vision that you have in your brain, that train just changes its direction just a little bit, maybe 5 degrees. But if you can imagine on a long enough time scale, you know, if it travels like 100 miles, that 5 degrees actually makes you end up on a completely different side of the world. Okay, so what you want to do is always keep in mind your vision, where you're going, where that ideal goal is, and that's going to allow you to keep on track, and it's going to allow you to keep encompassing all of these types of points and any other lessons that you're going to learn along the way in your sales journey. If you feel like this video helped you or gave you some new ideas on how you can level up, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you want to contact me or you have any questions, you can message me on Instagram. It's at DenizGBP. I'll also put a link in the description of this video, and until the next one.